Oregon really came to the forefront of the international wine scene in the 1960s, so it's a relatively young region. It's really made its mark with Pinot Noir. I have to say, when I bring American wines to my European wine writing friends, the variety and the region that they're most excited about is Oregon Pinot Noir. There are about 45,000 acres of vineyard plantings in Oregon, so for my European friends, that's less than 18,000 hectares, and over 60% of that is Pinot Noir. Even though Oregon is the third largest wine producing state in the country, just for comparison, it has about 6% of California's total acres planted, and it produces around 1% of California's total output. So Oregon, the focus is on small artisanal producers. It's a maritime moderate climate, and rain mostly happens in the late autumn to early spring, so late ripening grapes are not going to do that well. Most of the wine production is centered around the Willamette Valley. Yes, I know Willamette. Sometimes I like to mispronounce Willamette because it gets people so upset. Willamette. Within the Willamette Valley AVA, American Viticulture Area, there are 11 sub-AVAs, and we have some of those here today, so maybe we can taste the difference. A little less than 10 years ago, I used to think that Oregon showed real value in the under $25 price point for Pinot Noir. Of course, that price point is hard to hit in America now with rising costs. I used to think that when you get into more expensive bottlings of Oregon Pinot Noir, that they were a little bit overrated. I used to prefer Santa Barbara County for American Pinot Noir. I have to say, over the last year and a half, my opinions have changed completely as I have tasted some gorgeous Oregon Pinot Noirs, and one of the Oregon Pinot Noirs that changed my mind is in this blind tasting, albeit a newer vintage. We're going to get right in the blind tasting. I have 8 different Oregon Pinot Noirs ranging from $30 all the way to $78. Let's taste them, see how they stack up. Tasting with my Riedel Performance Pinot Noir glass. I love this glass. It's for Pinot Noir, but I found it works well for a lot of things, and I find myself wanting to use this glass a lot. I'll put a link in the description box if you want to check it out. As always, I Coravin these and had somebody mix them up for me. Since there's 8 wines, there's a lot of wines here. I'm going to taste one by one and then reveal. Let's start out with wine number 1 here. Oregon Pinot Noirs can be a little more concentrated, even though it's a moderate climate. Most of the vineyards are close to the Pacific Ocean, and then Pacific breezes kind of go in throughout the ridges and the mountains. Oregon's an amazing state. I used to actually want to live out there, and maybe I'll live out there again. Who knows? Let's smell this first one here. Very, very pretty floral nose. Floral, purple fruits, a little bit of red raspberry. It's got like, I know that a lot of people aren't going to relate to this. There's this fruit in Southeast Asia called red dragon fruit where it's subtly floral, subtly kind of red fruity. That's what I get here. And that's the thing with wine. What you get is what you get. You don't have to have the same descriptors as everybody else. Pretty earthy, but not too earthy. The fruit this is a pretty wine. This is an exceptional bottle of Pinot Noir to start. I know the first wine you tend to be a little bit biased, especially it's early morning, my palate's fresh, but this is really good. This already sets a super high bar. The tannins are a little bit grippy up front, but they're not too overly astringent. I think this can age. I'm trying to not get too excited because this is the first wine, but I'm 94 points on this wine. Again, scores are not an end-all be-all. It's a snapshot of a moment in time, but right now I am feeling this wine a ton. Let's see what it is. This is exceptional stuff. This is the wine that completely changed my mind about Oregon Pinot Noir to start. This is the Lingua Franca, the Plow 2021 Pinot Noir from Eola-Amity Hills. That's the sub-AVA. This comes in at $74. And I might have underscored it because it was the first wine. I thought, wow. This is the producer that actually showed up in the film Psalm 3, where a lot of people were confused. Hey, is this Burgundy? Is it not? I thought this was exceptional. I actually wanted to go even a little higher than 94, but it was the first wine, so That is a heck of a start. That's a benchmark. I have to thank my friend Brad Smith for introducing me to Lingua Franca. He's a wine lover in Massachusetts. There's a Frenchman at the winemaking helm there. He worked at Dujac, Romani Conti. Larry Stone, the master sommelier, founded that producer. It was bought by Constellation Brands, a big company, but I hope the wines just continue to be excellent. Let's move on to number 2. That was a heck of a start, my goodness. 2, earthy as well. Not as pretty as explosive as 1, but very good. Actually, hold on, come out, hold on. Red raspberry, it's not as floral. These Pinot Noirs too, Pinot Noir tasting is hard work. There are so many subtleties, so many nuances that you have to pay attention to here. Red raspberry, the earth, kind of like a muddiness. Sometimes you get forest floor with Pinot Noir. This is more like a mud type flavor, right? So I know it doesn't sound great, but it's really nice. Tart has acidity. Thing about Pinot Noir, early ripening variety, obviously that's why it does well in Oregon, because it ripens during the long, warm, dry summers before the rain starts to come in. Can't have too much acidity. If you pick too late, can be too fat. This is a nice balance. I really like it. Doesn't have like the wow factor maybe of wine 1, but I still think it's outstanding. For me, it's 92 points. I think it's well worth seeking out. Let's take a look at see what it is. This is value for money. This is the Hyland Estates 2021 Pinot Noir from McMinnville. That's the sub-AVA in the Willamette Valley. This comes in at 31 bucks. I've seen it at Costco even in the 20s before. Old vine Pinot Noir, so it's a single vineyard wine. For 31 bucks, you're getting a 92 point excellent Pinot Noir. I found out about this producer in Korea of all places. I was judging at the Asia Wine Trophy, and the importer, it lived in Korea part-time, lived in Oregon part-time. He introduced me to some of these wines, and I have to say that is a buy if you are wanting to try Oregon Pinot Noir. If you can find it, Oregon Pinot Noirs, American wines tend to be more expensive. That's value for money. Like I said, I've seen it sometimes in the mid-20s at Costco before. That's a heck of a wine. Let's move on to 3. I like Pinot Noir because I like that flavor profile, although I'm disappointed more than I'm impressed. And this Oregon Pinot Noirs have kind of given me new life with the grape. I've really started to enjoy them a lot. Let's go on to 3 here. 3, sour cherry. This is a little bit more forest floor than the previous 2. Sour cherry, forest floor. Maybe a little bit of raspberry. You get a touch of rose petal. The complex, this you have to shake it out. That's the Pinot Noir, it's always changing. You really have to shake it out. It smells gorgeous, by the way. Really, just pretty wine. Oh, man. Nice. This is just, you know, in today's world where you can't use masculine and feminine when it comes to taste descriptors, I do find this wine to be more feminine, more elegant, so to speak. Lots of acidity on the palate. Staying power. Long. Hold on. This is a weird wine because Pinot Noir sometimes has so much acidity that sometimes it just can melt the fruit. The fruit can disappear. And at first, this finish, that's what I felt like. And then all of a sudden, the fruit comes back. I think this is very good Pinot Noir. I'm 93 plus on it. I think it's very good. Let's change this. I know it's because it's not blind right now. I think I would go the first Lingua Franca about, let's go 94 plus, just to give us a little more leeway here. I think this is 93 plus. I think this is very good. Wine number 3. This is, wow. And this is the Richochet Pinot Noir, $43, Willamette Valley 2021. So made from fruit from all over the valley. Richochet is a minimal intervention producer. One of my friends, Christy Wentz of Christy Wines Travels, that's her Instagram handle, actually is a cellar rat here with Eric. I had never tasted these wines before. I know they don't get like really bombastic scores, but I think this is excellent. Nice little quote on the back. It says, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man," by Heraclitus. 200 cases produced, 43 bucks. I think this is excellent. Good job, Eric. 13.5 alcohol. That's a nice wine. These are some good wines, by the way. My goodness. 4, I actually might not think it's Pinot Noir on the nose. For me, it almost smells like a Piedmont wine. I get like some cranberry notes, almost Nebbiolo-esque on the nose, like hazelnut, dried cranberry. A lot of earth type flavors, it's got twigginess. If you ever, when you were a kid, I'm around a lot of forests. I grew up in around a lot of forests. I remember going in the spring, breaking off twigs and smelling that. That's what you get here, tons of twigginess. Oh my God, this really smells like a Nebbiolo d'Alba, maybe a Langaroso. You get a little bit of cinnamon, peppermint type notes. Very interesting. Like, I would never guess this is Pinot Noir. As a wine, 92 plus. I think it's very good. I just don't know if you're expecting normal Pinot Noir flavors, maybe not. Maybe it's, I don't know. This is really, but it's good. It's good. You got to kind of like that twigginess flavor. Wow. Very, very culty producers. This is the Big Table Farm Pinot Noir from Yamhill-Carlton. That is the sub-AVA. This comes in at 72 bucks. Big Table Farm is kind of a cult producer. The husband was making wines at Marcusson, I think, in Sonoma. Really high-end culty Pinot Noir. Him and his partner moved up where she does all the labels. She does these all on letterhead. The labels are absolutely beautiful. That is unique. I love the earthiness. Like I said, it's super complex. They're just general Willamette Valley easy drinking is unmistakably Pinot Noir. This is not. This has also the tannins that can age, 92 plus, and maybe, you know, with time, who knows, this could be even better. Very nice wine. Let's move on. 2021 is supposed to be a great vintage in the Willamette Valley, and obviously we can see that's the case so far. Big Table Farm, they sent me a set of samples, and they also sent me this cookbook, which was seasonal recipes because they do cooking and they have a sustainable farm there on the property. And it was a butternut squash soup recipe, and I made it, and it was awesome. All right, let's move on to number 5 here. Again, I knew what all these producers were before and had all these mixed up. These are all smaller producers. You have to buy direct, or distribution may be limited in the U.S. I'm sorry, my European friends, they might be hard to find. I think Hyland is in Europe, but American wines are, you know, hard to come by in Europe. Let's move on to 5 here. Oh, 5 is some black and sour cherry mixed up. Lots of earthiness, almost like swamp peatiness, like you go in this, or like you ever do potted plants and you get like that peat type flavor. That's when you get here. This is a little bit darker. The fruit comes out, I think the most complex nose, maybe the first 4 were all pretty complex. This is more fruity straight up front. So it's more approachable. I just did some Pinot Noir tastings with my friends where I brought a few bottles. They're not hardcore wine geeks. They like wine, and they liked what I thought was the simplest Pinot Noir the most. The one that I liked that was the most tannic, they did not like. So I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser for people that like straightforward wines. Silky. Let me take that back in the complexity because you get a lot of spice on the back end of this Pinot Noir. Almost a Grenache type of spice. Very good. I think this is a crowd pleaser out of all of them. It's got length. 92 plus. I think it's very good. Exceptional wine. Let's take a look here. This is the Lonesome Rock, the Estate Pinot Noir 2021. This comes in at 60 bucks. This is a tiny, tiny producer. I know they sell a lot of fruit. Beautiful label, first of all. Bigger Pinot Noir, more fruity, more approachable, but still has the seriousness on the back end. This is a Willamette Valley wine, so it's made with fruit from all over the valley. 60 bucks. I think that you can just buy from them or local restaurants nearby. Small producer. I had a talk with him long time ago. Interesting guy. Lived in France, lived in Paris, wanted to make some great Pinot Noirs, and that is nice. I want to see what the alcohol is here. 13.7, like I said, almost approaching 14. So a bigger Pinot Noir that's going to be more friendly, more plush, but not too fat. I like it. Let's move on to number 6. That Pinot Noir is something like maybe people wouldn't expect to come from Oregon because it's bigger and they think of Oregon as a cooler region, although the summers are pretty warm there. Let's move on to 5. 5? 5 had this crystalline strawberry, red raspberry type flavor, a little bit of white pepper, a little bit of like a chalk type flavor. It smells just really pretty. Again, more feminine. Like this Lonesome Rock might be a little more burly. This is like a little more pretty. All these are excellent wines because of the length. This is just, for me, got the right amount of fruit, acidity, tannins, everything just kind of comes together. Pretty wine. Not too earthy, fruity enough for a lot of people, nuanced enough for hardcore wine connoisseurs. I mean, nothing sticks out. Acidity doesn't stick out. Tannins don't stick out. The fruit doesn't stick out. Perfect on the back end. I'm 93 points. I think it's very, 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 very good Pinot Noir. Let's take a look. Another small producer this is the Suzor Pinot Noir from Eola-Amity Hills, only 96 cases produced, 39 bucks, 93 points. I think that's excellent value for money. This is balanced. This is like, to me, what Oregon Pinot Noir should be. It doesn't have to be Burgundy. I think the Lingua Franca was the first producer that convinced me that it can be Burgundy-esque, even though that's what a lot of producers go for. Even Drouhin, Jadot, Burgundy producers have invested in Willamette Valley, trying to make Pinot Noirs, but it doesn't have to be Burgundy. It could be a style on its own. They are distinctive from California Pinot Noirs. I think this is kind of quintessential what Oregon Pinot Noir is. It's just good wine. I released a video a few weeks ago about am I a wine shill, because I'm so excited about wine. I do depend on samples. There's a little bit of bias in the beginning. That's why I do these blind tastings. And right now, though, I am shilling about Oregon Pinot Noirs. These are really good. Let's move on to 7. 7, Peppermint comes out. The earth and the peppermint come out. This is the earthiest wine out of the bunch. There is fruit here, but the peppermint, the earth come out first. Raspberry, 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 and I love raspberries, so I'm all about if anytime a wine can go raspberry or sour cherry on me, I'm all about it. That's why I'm really pro Sangiovese. That's really nice. Just for me, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, peppermint, earth, red raspberry, maybe a little bit of pepper on the back end. More for acidity freaks. The acid kind of cuts through. I was saying on the nose, before I put it in my mouth again, almost York peppermint patty-esque with a little bit less chocolate. The acidity cuts through here where the fruit doesn't finish all the way, but if you're a Riesling nut like me, you're going to love the acidity here. Makes your mouth water big time. This is a Pinot Noir, one of the rarities I'd love to have with some trout. Yes, Pinot Noir can go with fish. Some trout, some white fish. I'm 92 points on it. You have to like acidity here, but it's still excellent wine. It's one of the more affordable wines in the bunch. This is the Chehalem 2022 Pinot Noir. The cheapest wine comes in at 30 bucks. Chehalem Mountains is the AVA, the sub. So it's named Chehalem after the Chehalem Mountains, which is a sub AVA. This has a screw cap. I like it. I've liked this wine in the past a lot, and at 30 bucks, and this is fairly available in the US, I think that's showing super well. That's really good value. I mean, you're not getting $30 American wine, Pinot Noir, high quality Pinot Noir these days, so that's really good value. Let's move on to 8. 8's intense. Rose petal comes out. The rose petal, the violets come out right away. Sour cherry, red raspberry, earth, very complex nose. Very complex nose. Oh, on the palate, there's a huge spike of intensity. What makes Cabernet Sauvignon a unique grape is because what happens in the mid palate, that's after you put the wine in the palate, you have the spike of intensity. That's what you're going to get right here. This wine is super young. This is wine I think that's going to unfurl more with time. It's going to be gorgeous with time. Right now, you got everything up front. You have a nice balance of fruit, and the floral notes really come out. But for some reason, I get the sense, and this is something you don't get unless you're tasting a lot of wines, that this wine's going to be way better with time. As it's showing now, for me, 92 plus points. I think with time, it could be even better. Very, very nice wine. Let's take a look at what it is. Number 8 here. This is the Domaine Roy Fills. This is the Incline Dundee Hills Estate Pinot Noir. This is from the Dundee Hills AVA. Comes in at 68 bucks. This is from the sons of the founders of Beaufrère, which is one of the iconic pioneers in Oregon. Beautiful label, 92 plus points. I think this is outstanding. But again, this is the wine that I really, really hope to see with time. So I think with my favorite wines here, I think for me, the Lingua Franca really stood out. The Richochet was very good. The Suzor was very balanced. And I didn't give it the highest score, but I like the Big Table Farm because of that complexity on the back end that made me think it was a wine from Piemonte. So tell me, do you like Pinot Noir? Have you ever tried the ones from the Willamette Valley from Oregon? What do you think? Any favorite producers? Drop it in the comments below.